Let's go over Coco's training so that way we can stay consistent at home. Whenever she's doing behaviors that we want to keep seeing, such as following our commands, we're going to reinforce and reward those behaviors with either praise, petting, or treats. And then those behaviors that we don't want to keep seeing, such as jumping up on us or not following our commands, we're going to follow through with our training equipment to decrease those behaviors. Let's go over Coco's training equipment. This is her slip collar. She's going to wear this whenever she is on a leash. How we put this on is we're just going to make a loop. It's going to go over her head. It's going to go nice and high right behind her ears. And then we're going to cinch it down so that way it doesn't cause a big loop and it can't go over her head and it stays nice and high on her neck. And then the leash is going to attach to this end. So how we use this, say that she is in the heel position. Heel means walk next to me on a nice loose leash. Say she starts to pull ahead or she goes somewhere we don't want to. We're going to say no, pop of the leash, and then reminder heel. So no marks that incorrect behavior we don't want to see. Pop of the leash is the follow through, and then we remind her what command she is supposed to be doing. And then when she gets back into that position where we want her, we can give her that praise, petting, and treats to let her know that she's doing a good job. Now let's go over her remote collar. How we turn this on and off is there's a red dot on the remote, red dot on the collar. We're going to touch these together. Once this is green and flashing, that means it's on, charged, and ready to go. How we turn on the remote, on and off button on the back, we're going to push and hold until the screen lights up. You're going to see level 20 appear on the screen. This is Coco's working level, and then today we're going to focus on the black S button. S just stands for stimulation, so it's kind of like an electric muscle stimulator. So say she is in that heel position and she's not where we want her. We're going to say no, black S button, heel, no, button, heel. And then, of course, when she gets back, we're going to give her that praise, petting, and treats to reinforce her staying in that heel position. So now that we've gone over her equipment, whether we use one of these or both of these to give her that follow through, just depends on the situation that we are in. So say she's not too distracted and she just needs a little bit of a reminder, we can use the leash. Say she's a little bit too distracted and we're trying to get her attention, we can use both of them. And then with the remote collar, we're going to put this on first thing in the morning, and then it's going to be the last thing that we take off at night, so that way we always have a form of communication with Coco throughout the day. With the slip collar, she's going to wear this whenever she's on a leash. So in the beginning, she might have the leash on in the house until we set those boundaries, and then we can fade away from having the leash on in the house. So now that we've gone over her training equipment, let's go over her commands. We've already kind of gone over the heel. Heel just means walk next to me on that nice loose leash. So about 80 to 90% of walks should be in the heel position. The other 10 to 20%, we can give her the release word free. Free means she's not in any set command and she can go wander and explore. This is her time to do her business, or we're going to follow her and she's not going to follow us. Now we have sit. Sit means stay as implied until she's given that release word free. This is going to be really good for those door manners. So if we approach a door on the inside or the outside, we're going to have Coco sit, so that way she doesn't think that she can just bolt through the door. So if she sits, great. We're going to open the door, and then we can remind her to sit as we're opening the door, because opening the door is a big distraction. And if she does, great. Then we can heel through the door with her, or we can free her through the door on her own. So we're going to do this until she gets it right. So say we have her sit and we open the door and she stands up. We're going to put her back into that sit and have her do it until she gets it right. So that way we can set those same boundaries at home that we have here at the facility. And she sits when we ask on the first time and not the seventh time. Now we have down. Down also means stay as implied. So say we put her in a down and we do a little bit of a distraction. We don't want to call her to us from where we are, because then we're going to reward her for coming to us and not staying in that down stay. So say we're working on the down, we're going to go back to her and release her from where she is at, so that way she knows that staying in that down stay is what we are asking of her. Also, when we're rewarding this, we're going to reward low to the ground, so that she knows the lower to the ground is what we are asking of her. Now we have places that boundary stay ideally on an elevated bed. This is really good for whenever we have guests coming over, so that way Coco can still experience it, but she's on her own little place boundary, so that way she's not getting in everybody's way when they're trying to come through the door. So whenever we're practicing place, ideally I would have a leash on her to start out with, so that way if she decides to get off, we have a way to guide her back to the bed if we need to. Also with place, we're not going to release her from a distance so she doesn't get rewarded for coming to us, so we're going to go back to her and release her from where she's at. With place, we also reward on the place bed, so she knows the positive zone is that boundary and the positive isn't coming from us. Now we have come when called. This one's really good to use whenever she is just a little distracted and we need her to come back to us. So whenever we want to practice this, we want to make that realistic. So we're going to give her that release word free, let her get distracted, do her own thing. Then when we call her to us, we're going to say it in a loud, firm tone. Praise her as she's coming to us, backing up a little bit just to invite her into our space, have her sit, and then we can give her the reward. Whenever you first practice this, I would suggest having a 30 to 50 foot leash on her so that way if she decides to get extra distracted and she ignores our command, we have a way to reel her back into us if we need to. Also, with this command, we're going to reward every single time because we want that positive association with coming into our space, so that way she wants to come into our space. Now we have leave it. Leave it just means don't grab that. So start out with dog safe foods. Toss a piece of food on the ground, say leave it, and if she does, great. If not, we're going to follow through with the training equipment. Ideally, have a leash on her when you first practice this, so that way you can guide her into a different scenario if you need to. And then we're going to do it until she gets it right, so that way she never thinks that she can just pick something up off the ground. So that is all of Coco's commands. So we are going to reinforce and reward those behaviors that we want to keep seeing, such as following our commands. And then whenever she's not doing what we want to see, like jumping up on us or not following our commands, we're going to follow through with the training equipment to decrease those behaviors. So we're going to have fun and stay consistent. And then this is going to be Coco doing her commands.
Okay, bro, I'll be right over there.
Down. Good girl. Good. Good. Down. Down. Good. Down, Coco. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good girl. Free. Good girl.
Let's go over the other features of the remote. So now that we know how to turn it on, let's go over how to turn it off. It's the same concept. We're just going to touch these red dots together. That's going to turn the collar off. How we turn off the remote, on and off button on the back. We're going to push and hold until the screen goes blank. And now that the collar is off, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on, and we're going to go through the other features of the remote. So we've already gone over the black S button. That is going to be the number that you see on the screen. So we have this red S option. So if we click that, that's going to jump her level to 40. So this red S button is for emergency cases only, whenever she's doing something dangerous that could cause her harm, such as running after a car. This is a way to boost her level, so that way we can still communicate with her whenever she's in that high adrenaline state of mind, because level 20 only reaches about here. When she's chasing a car, not really paying attention, she's up here, so we need a way to match that, so that way we can still communicate with her when she's doing that dangerous act. Then on the other side of the remote, we have the T button. T just stands for the vibrate feature, so if we push this, it vibrates the collar. We like to use this to make sure that the collar is on and ready to go, but you can use it further in her training when she doesn't really need the stimulation, but she does need a little bit of a reminder, so you can just tell her, hey, whatever you just did, I didn't really like that, and you can just click the vibrate. Then we have the M/C button on the back of the remote. M stands for momentary, C stands for continuous. At the beginning of Coco's training, we started out at continuous at a very low level to introduce the collar in a positive way. Then when she gets further into her training, we moved over to momentary at a little bit of a higher level, and that's where she should stay through the rest of her training. Then the on and off button on the back also works as a flashlight feature. If we press it and not hold it, it's going to have a flashing light. If we press one more time, it's going to be a solid light. And then if we press it again, it's going to turn off the flashlight completely. Now, say that this level on the screen, level 20, isn't working for Coco. Say she's having too much of a reaction, or you're seeing that she's not responding to it all. We can change that level by pushing down on the dial until that 1D at the top of the screen starts flashing, and then we can rotate it to whatever number we want to put it on. But level 20 is working for Coco right now, so I'm just going to move it back to 20. How we lock it into place is we're just going to push and hold that dial again until everything stops blinking. So that way, if we put it in our pocket, we can't accidentally change her level. So that way we never have to be concerned about where we're putting this or how we're holding it. And then both the collar and the remote are rechargeable, so charging port on the remote is right here. And then this one is right underneath the prongs. So it should stay charged for about 2 days if she wears it for about 12 to 14-hour days. So if you charge it every other day, you should have no problems. Then in the box, we have the charger, which is a dual charger, so you can charge both at the same time. So that way you don't have to worry about charging one and then charging the other. Then if you notice that her hair gets a little bit longer and the prongs aren't making good connection, there are longer prongs in the box, and it comes with a tool to take it off. You just have to switch over the prongs just if you notice that the prongs aren't making good connection. Then at the bottom of the box is a manual, so if you have any other questions, you can go through this and hopefully figure it out if you need to. And then it has a 2-year warranty, so if you have any problems, you can just contact the company and hopefully get something exchanged if you need to. Both of them are waterproof, so if it gets wet, not a big deal, but if she's going to stay wet for an extended period of time, I would rotate her collar on her neck, so that way it isn't rubbing and irritating one side of her neck too much. So that is all of the other features of the remote, so we're going to have fun and stay consistent.